What up? I don't know what that was. I believe last time we left off, I was talking about, the rise of the Donna Street Crips. Uh, it was real interesting. We had just suffered a loss. My homie L, he got killed by the West Coast Bloods. Anybody been following from the ground up? I went over the, incidents what led to the really rebirth of gang banging in Vegas. Okay, and I'm up to the point now to where a new gang was coming on the scene. Um, like I said, after L got killed, we was really hurt in the Gerson, and because we never suffered death like that. But we was anti everything. Could nothing come over there? If you did, you paid dearly. We was out for blood. We used to go through West Coast Marble Manor trying to catch one of them slipping and kill him. I remember one time, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Them guys was hard to catch. One time me and my homeboy had a homie named Cornbread. Everybody, he's a real reputable in Las Vegas. His real name is Albert Maxwell Chase, but we call him Cornbread. I'll get to all that later. But one day we was together and we just so happened to be in that area, and we was riding through there, Marble Man, trying to catch some blood slipping, and we couldn't find nobody. And we got real mad, so we parked over there off Morgan, and we got out the car, and we walked through the back ways trying to catch, some of the blood slipping posted up by cars and stuff. And we actually heard dominoes being played. Like you could hear people slamming dominoes on the table around this apartment, and we was like, we went, over there like, who the fuck is that? And we heard voices in there, and it was like apartment building, and they had in the kitchen area, they had the window open, and you can hear people slamming, dominoes, 15 blood. And we was like, ooh, we got us some, right? So we sitting there listening to playing dominoes. Now we trying to think, should we knock on the door and then start shooting? How should we do this? So Bread, he really from California, and he got a California mentality. So what he did is he stuck a 12 gauge through the window where we heard the noise coming from, and he just unloaded up in the house. That's how we paid them a visit. That's how we showed them that we ain't forgot about what y'all did to our homeboy. And we left it real messy. Now moving along, being in the Gerson, we basically was soaping because we lost a homie, and so we start hearing about these guys in the north forming this clique. To us it was a clique because we never heard of Donna Street Crip. Okay, we had some guys that was from our neighborhood that kept telling us, "Hey, come down there, man. And, they kind of cool. It's cool down there." And we was like, "Ain't no way," because that's GQ territory, and we couldn't perceive ourselves going down there to that area when they've been our enemies since day one. We ain't going over there. But our homeboys that was, I guess becoming Donna Streets was insistent. So some of our older homies went down there, to check it out to see, if it was safe or whatever. And they realized there was a new entity forming down there because the GQs was dying off. And this new entity was a bunch of youngsters that was coming up, that some was from around that area, but some was from the Gerson. And they started this little clique. We thought it was a clique. They called it Donna Street Crips. And then we was like, what the hell is that? Donna Street Crips. And this was around 1980, I say 87, yeah, about five months after L got killed, about 87. And it wasn't that many of them, And these guys, to us, they were Crips, so it was kind of like unusual because we was never like, I ain't gonna say, we wasn't never like pro Crip, we wasn't pro blood neither, but we never could see ourselves really getting along with Crips. But this was a new opportunity, so we started kicking it with these guys, and the relationship blossomed. I mean, they membership, like in 1 year, just expanded. I mean, we were like literally 900 deep. It was like 800, 900 of us. So it was like 400 of them in about a year. They was really spreading. Anybody know Donna Street? At one point, everybody in Las Vegas wanted to be from Donna for some reason. And these guys had their own swagger: Cadillacs jacked up in the back, Hawaiian silky curls, blue khaki suit, Lokes. You know what I mean? They had a Pacific look, and they was famous. They was also violent. They got a hold of some guns, and I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna let them tell that side of the story. They came across some guns, and they was really wreaking havoc. One of the things that they was known for doing was, we have this Indo Mall. It's called an Indo Mall. Anybody know what an Indo Mall is? But they came in the Indo Mall one day with hockey masks on and Dodgers jerseys with Louisville Sluggers, and beat up everybody up in the Indo Mall with bats. They were doing stuff like that, but that's how they was putting their name on the map. All right. Now, at the same time this was going on, there was another gang that was on the rise too. But Donna Street was just more of a faster and more of an aggressive rise. But the Rolling 60 Crips were going through a transitions too, because they were a new gang that went from one area to another area, and they were growing. So they were starting to make their presence known too, because of the drug trade and gang banging being what it is. They was letting people know, hey, we Rolling 60 Crips and we here too. So I don't know what happened, and I'm gonna let them tell that story. See, I'm gonna stick to my story, but what I will do is tell you this. There was an incident that happened between the Rolling 60s and the Donna Street Crips that happened around 1988. And the Donna Street Crips was a brand new gang. The 60s had already been out, but they wasn't expanded like that. And an incident happened to where one of the Rolling 60s, I'm not gonna say his name, all right, but one of the Rolling 60s shot one of the Donna Streets in the head, blew his head off. Okay. And the Donna Streets wasn't really a gang, probably a whole year and a half before this happened. And his name was Boo Boo Swanson. Okay. And his family, which is known as the Swansons, is a known family. So the 60s killed him. Okay. Now I would say this here. The person that they were trying to say that did it, his name was Dr. Mack. He was from Rolling 60s. Okay. Now, when this happened, this changed the whole game, because the Donna Street Crips was helping us shoot up the West Coast Bloods for killing our homeboy. Now the Rolling 60s killed one of their homeboys. So they turned all their attention and their hate toward the Rolling 60s. So it became the Gerson Park Kingsmen's and the Donna Street Crips versus the West Coast Bloods and the Rolling 60s. Okay? Now, this is where I'm gonna have to watch what I, say, because when we clicked up that way, and the 60s went, and the Donnas went at the 60s, and we was going at the coast, a lot of things got out of hand, and I'm gonna come back to that next time. I'm gonna take this slow. I got a new equipment that I'm gonna be using, so you don't have to see my ugly mug like this all the time. I got other equipment that I'm gonna be setting up to make it more professional. I appreciate each and every one of you that's been sticking with me and listening to me during this. It's gonna get better, I promise you. What I got to tell you is it's gonna be worth it, because it's consequences. We wiped each other out. There is really no gangs in Vegas no more, because we killed ourselves off, and I'm not lying. It's the saddest thing ever told. You hear about California and all the gangs out there that still exist, but gangs out here have been literally, and I mean literally, wiped out. Not by the police or the federal government, not by disease, not even by crack cocaine, but they've been wiped out by other gang members. And I'm talking about gangs that was 200-300 strong. They're dead and gone. So trust me, I'm gonna take this slow, because I will be doing people disservice if I just rush. My life was long, it was hard, and it was unfortunate, but I'm gonna share it with you, and hopefully your children or whoever's watching this can gain whatever you can gain from it, because I'm only alive for one reason, And that's to share my story. That's why God left me here and he took all my friends. He want me to explain to you how they died and why they died, so you don't have to. Okay? The best person to preach about hell is a demon. And if a demon is trying to tell you what goes on in hell, you better listen. Okay? Until then, from the ground up.